A new steel skid plate for the front of my Jeep Gladiator. Time to make it a little more Mojave-like. Well, good morning everybody. How are you today? Pretty good here, and that's right. I'm gonna put a new steel skid plate on the front of my Jeep Gladiator. This is the skid plate that came from Randall's Jeep Mojave. Took it off, made some alterations to it, painted it up a little bit with some bed liner, and I think it's ready to go. Let's take a look real quick at how it came out. You guys can see it here. Looks pretty good to me. Love the way it came out. And then I've got some green brackets, you know, to kind of carry through with the green theme. You probably won't even see them. I really was just looking to protect the cuts that we made in the brackets. But what we're going to do, we're going to remove this awesome skid plate here. It's not really a skid plate, just this little piece. I guess this might be a skid plate part right here, maybe. I don't know, but we're going to pull that off, just a couple of bolts. Then we got to put the brackets and the other skid plate on, and that should be it. Should be pretty simple to do. Okay, first things first, got to remove that front plate. Takes a 16 millimeter socket, it looks like. So we'll go ahead and whip that thing off real quick. That was pretty easy. Well, almost. It's held on by two little prongs up top, so you just kind of smack it at the bottom and it'll come out. There you go. And I'm talking about these two little prongs right here, one on each side. Pretty simple to do. Now, next up, I've got to mount the brackets back onto the skid plate here. I just think that'll be a little bit easier once I'm putting it on, so I'll flip that around, do that. Actually, I just discovered that it's probably going to be easier to go ahead and mount the brackets on the truck up here on this frame piece, and then put the skid plate on. So that's what I'm going to do. Got a bag of hardware here, so we're going to go ahead and get these mounted first, right up here in these two holes on each side, and then we'll put the skid plate up against it. I think that would just be simpler to do. For hardware, I'm going to use a 3/8 by 1.5 bolt with a nylon threaded or a locking nut on the other side. Probably going to put some Loctite on here as well. We'll see. I don't know if that's necessary with the locking nut on here. I had thought about using some metric, but we're going to use these. Now, one little tip. I do have to stick a wrench up inside the frame piece here. There is a hole. You can see right here on the bottom, actually in here. I assume that is for access. So you want to do the top one first, because if you do the bottom one, it's going to be in the way when you try to tighten up the top one. So just a little tip there. Okay, got the first one on. Gonna have to touch these up to green, I guess, so they match. Here's another trick for you. You know, when there's no way to get behind this piece, right? It's sealed. You can reach in a couple of access points, but try holding a nut down, a locking nut, while you're trying to do that. So what I did, I took a wrench, kind of taped it up to hold the nut up against the back while I screw it in, just so that I can place the nut in here while I push it up and put it on. Kind of difficult, but it does work. All right, we've got the side bolts on. That was a chore, I will admit. Trying to get everything threaded in there properly was not a lot of fun, but we do have both sides on. So now it's just a matter of mounting the skid plate itself and tightening everything up. There are only two bolts that are going to hold this skid plate on. So here and here, Randall and I had talked about maybe, or Randall suggested maybe putting a bolt through here, but you can see the bracket is in the way, so there's no way to put a bolt through there. So there's only going to be two holding it on. I think that'll be okay. Now, if you were doing heavy duty off-roading and smash this skid plate against something, you might pop one of these front bolts, maybe. But I'm okay with it because I'm not planning on running up against boulders or anything. So next up, let's get this thing on. I am done, and got to admit, took a lot longer than it really should have. And that's because of the bolts, as I mentioned earlier, on the sides. Right up here, I did paint them, by the way. They're drying, but very difficult because this is sealed to get access behind to hold that nut. That was what took so long, trying to finagle a wrench in there on both sides. But this is what it looks like. I think it came out awesome. I love it. Fits good under there. We did have to do some trimming. I did touch up these bolts as well, but it is a good fit with the trimming. You can see here, that's my little cut right there. Where you can see we did trim so that it would clear the steel bumper that I have on there right now. But it did come out pretty square, I think, and I think it looks pretty good. As far as coverage goes, does give you a little bit more underneath. You can see right there, kind of really more so to keep things from bouncing up from the front and hitting things down behind, at least for my purposes. That's the whole point in my doing it, I guess. It's just to keep rocks and things from flying underneath the truck and maybe hitting things underneath. And I think it will satisfy that purpose quite well. Let's take a look at the other side so you can see both sides. I'm not hiding anything from you. There's how the bracket looks over there. Again, I did touch it up on the green side. The green, why did I do the green? Well, like I mentioned, I just wanted some paint to protect the bracket. That was my whole goal. And since I already had the green paint and have other green accents on the truck, I just thought, you know, that'll tie it in a little bit for anybody who happens to notice it. It is tucked underneath here, so not going to be as readily available or as readily seen, I suppose, as it would be if it were on the top or maybe even on the front. You can see I did decide not to go ahead and add any green to the skid plate itself. I had mentioned when I painted this that I thought about maybe just giving it a dusting of green to give it kind of a green tinge, if you will. I experimented on a board, it's actually sitting right down there, and decided that that didn't look too good, so I just left it black as it is, and it came out really well. Again, I used bed liner on it because I was looking for something durable. I did scratch it up before doing the painting, so it should have pretty good adhesion. Undoubtedly, it will chip as I'm driving along. I have no doubt about that. Anything that hits it, of course, is going to probably chip some of that off, but not really a big deal. What I ended up with was a much beefier skid plate than what I had before, and should be a lot more durable in the long run. Anyway, leave a comment, let me know what you think. It is now my Jeep Gladiator Sport S/Mojave Frankenstein, because it now has a little bit of Mojave DNA in it. Let me know what you think. Also, real quick, if you're interested, I do have 2 additional channels. The first is Rob Motive, all about my 2020 Toyota Tacoma. And the second is Rob Motive Tundra, my newest channel about the Toyota Tundra, and particularly the new redesigned version that's going to be coming. I'll be adding that to that channel. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.